fat people? Should they be shamed or coddled? Should we spread awareness or act oblivious? Welcome to the Common Podcast, where we speak upon common sense and realize it really isn't that common. October is National Bullying Prevention Month, and today we're going to be talking about one form of bullying, and that is fat shaming. The guest today, the owner of Primitive Eats, which is the sponsor of the podcast, shares a story about how he was bullied and fat shamed for the majority of his adolescence and how that affected him. It's a very great and amazing story, and actually inspired him to start his meal prep company, but also spread awareness on nutrition and fitness. Let us know what y'all think about his story down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to pitch a topic or get in contact with us, the best way to do that is through Instagram. The handle is The Real Common Podcast. Also, we're live about 4 times a week on Twitch. That's going to be the first link in the description. And without further ado, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you all in the next episode.
On the track.
Ready?
What's up?
Welcome back, brother.
What's up?
Appreciate you having me. How's life, man?
Good.
What's new?
Just Primitive is growing, dude. I don't know. Like, you've been getting more CrossFitters, more like around Mercedes, going a new CrossFit gym. Guy there, he bought some meals, and hopefully he spreads the word. And
Well, you've been branching out, right?
Yeah.
You spread it out your location.
yeah, I'm trying to branch out. Like, I think that's where. I think that's a benefit. Like, I compared to other meal preps, you know, they only go to like a certain area.
Or you have to go to them.
Go to them, yeah. But I'm willing to go like to all the way to Wessico, just from Wessico to Brownsville, just to give out.
Yeah,
those
and I'm sure
meals.
that's a sacrifice, right? But you got to
Yes,
sacrifice in order to grow.
Yep.
You got something else going on though in your personal diet.
Yeah. I'm doing
You're attempting.
the lion's diet. I feel like a lion.
Yeah, you're doing the Lion's diet, which is a very difficult diet. And for the listeners right now, it's basically you're eating meat and drinking water. That's
all.
almost it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're doing it for 30 days, so that's
30
gonna be
days, yeah.
that's gonna be a. I'm excited to see how you feel after that. You said you're feeling good. You're feeling like
I feel
you're less
good.
bloated.
Yeah, I feel less bloated. I feel like kind of like the weight. It's not. I don't feel bloated. I feel the weight kind of like the body. Like I would say the part of the excess skin that I have is kind of more dripping down. So it's getting there. And I don't have that. I don't have a crash.
Okay.
Because usually before I would have crashes like after a huge meal or after a meal. But now I don't have that much crashes for the past 3 days.
Right. And well, you've been on it for 4 days now, right? You started on the first
Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday. Yeah,
Okay.
Sunday I started because I
Okay.
was like reading it from Jordan Peterson's like hidden since I was like he was telling me about the benefits like mentally about it. I was like, all right, well, you know what? Let me try it. I mean, what else? What am I gonna lose? Just doing that. So far it's pretty fun right now.
Well, I'm so glad you're reading the book.
Yeah,
Right? So that's my favorite book by far.
Yeah.
Right now I'm reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Super good too. I might lend you that one too.
All right. Awesome.
But yeah, so he's reading right now the Jordan Peterson 12 Rules for Life, which is my favorite book, and I'm actually excited that you're reading it.
Yeah, like
Right.
I'll read it, but then also like if I since I'm at work, I'll read the stuff again, but in audio. And so that's what I would hear. Like I'm at work and I'm just like hearing it, just hearing the I had to buy the book. Like I had to buy the audio, so because I love to when I'm driving, delivering or anywhere. Just like I'm hearing, like I zone out and just hearing his words, just like okay, all right, okay, get you.
That's good. Now we're talking about dieting, and we're kind of gathered here today to talk about a little bit about what that connects to, which is the body. And for the listeners that don't know, this month, October, is National Bully Prevention Month. And so what I kind of want to do is talk about different ways of bullying, right, and handle them individually, because bullying can come in different forms, shapes, and ways. And fat shaming, I think, is one that is a very delicate one. And I wanted to have you on here because I know that you've been a victim of fat shaming because you how what was your like your peak weight, like 280 you said, or
Like
300?
around 280, 300 more or less. That was like around after high school, around between like senior year, like already graduating. Let's say my senior year, because I was really big, man. Like really big. I was a big boy.
Yeah, so you're almost 300 pounds. How much you weigh now?
Right now I weigh. When I first met you, I was like 160 some.
Jesus.
But now I'm at 180. But I'm thinking because that's the thing is that I've also been told that I'm too skinny.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that I have to get muscle. So I'm like, okay, well, I do look kind of skinny. You know, I had to gain some weight because of performance for CrossFit. Because,
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, it's kind of like I'm 150 or 160 and I'm power cleaning, like, for example, 135 kilos at times. You get tired because, I mean, you're so weak. You don't have that much.
Yeah, 160 is a little too
light.
Too light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was told I was.
180 is good, bro.
Yeah, 180
I
is
think.
good.
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm trying to just cut a little bit. Trying to cut it out. Just cut a little bit. I like going around. It's because like I didn't want to be too heavy because of gymnastics. So,
yeah.
So it's kind of hard. Like,
that's the interesting thing about CrossFit, right? It's like you take a dip on either side. You can't be too heavy because you'll get caught on the gymnastics, but you can't be too light because you're gonna get caught on the lifting. Right?
Yeah.
And so, well, when I finished 75 hard, I forgot when I finished it. Maybe May. I was at 196 or something like that, and my gymnastics got better.
Yeah.
And right now I'm at a 211. And so, but I'm getting strong.
You're getting strong.
I'm getting strong again because I lost a lot of my strength.
Yeah.
But now the gymnastics is getting a little bit difficult for me. So I'm cutting back down. I'm going to go to 200. I think the 200 is going to be my sweet spot.
You kind of that's the thing, like with your body, you kind of find, well, CrossFit is like, you kind of find, like, okay, well, I don't want to be too light, but I do want to be too heavy. So you kind of find, there's like a middle ground that you're trying to find with CrossFit.
Yeah, yesterday we did a chipper with 100. It was 100 pull-ups and then 80 toes bar right after. And at 211, bro, my lats, I woke up today, they were fried.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, dude. It was rough. But, yeah, kind of going back. So you have been a victim of fat shaming.
Yeah, ever since I was like a kid.
Talk us a little bit through that and how maybe that has affected you growing up, and then in hindsight, right? Like now, looking back, do you think it was a negative thing or a positive thing? But let's talk about, what actually happened and what you experienced.
Like elementary, like I would get, I was always that chubby kid with just chubby legs, chubby everything. Like I was really chubby cheeks, everything. But I was always told like, oh, like you shouldn't be playing with us basketball. You're too fat. You couldn't, or you'll be always the last one being picked in soccer and in basketball, always. And it's kind of like, okay. And since like, and I would get tired, I would get tired. I mean, it just sucks, but like. Even the little girls as well, they would tell me like, "No, you're too fat." Like, no.
That's the thing about kids, right? Kids are a little too honest.
They're little kids say the darndest things. And that's what sucks. But like, they would tell me like, plus, they'll tell you, "Oh, you're ugly." And they'll say your butt is ugly. I'm like, how would you know? Well, your face is ugly too, so your butt is ugly too. So all these little things, man. I mean, grew up saying all those things. They'll be saying that, and it would suck. It would really suck because like I would get home and I would just want to eat and just be in my own little corner, and I don't want to deal with it. I think now with kids, like that's the thing. Like I think kids, it's more harder on them with the bullying because it's 24/7 because of social media. Back then, we would only get bullied. I would get only bullied between 8 to 3. Now these kids are getting bullied through social media as well. Like. I mean, they open their phone at 2:00, 5, or any kind of part of the day, and they'll see that they're already being bullied or fat shamed, or they're not, or they're being told something.
Yeah,
and that's what sucks comparing to when I grew up. But like, I mean, I never was fat shamed with my family or anything like that. But it was just mostly at school and middle school.
Do you think that built some insecurities?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big time, like. I still have sometimes. Like there'll be times where I kind of like somebody pointed out that every time I eat, I'll be like this the whole time. But it's just something like I don't want to go back how the way I was.
Yeah.
Because like being big, like I mean, it's hard. I mean, physically and mentally.
So, like in your school years, would you say that you had very low confidence because of like your weight and what people would say about you?
Yeah, I had very low confidence. Like I had no, I would, like I said, I wasn't to the point where I never even asked a girl out, and like to go on prom or to homecoming or anything like that. It was just never like that. Like I never went up and asked because I would just show like I was that chubby guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want like my insecurities was just through the roof, man. Like through the roof, and I was in football as well, but it's like it didn't even matter if I was in football because I know sometimes like, oh, you're in football, that's like a plus. But for me, I didn't even see any difference.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because they'd be like, "Oh, you're in football," and nothing. I didn't see no difference. My confidence didn't even boost or anything like that.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing, because personally, I believe that I talked about it in the prior podcast when we talked about bullying in the wide spectrum. I think that people handle scrutiny and bullying different ways. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting thing because I think personally it's predetermined. Like you're just kind of born with the ability to take things, either look at something and become a victim of it, or look at something and then try to overcome it. Mm-hmm. I think that people, now here's the thing, I want to be very careful with how I say this. I think that people can train themselves to be overcomers and not be victims, but I think that it's a lot easier for people temperamentally, right? Now, kind of going back, would you say that back then in your high school, middle school years, were you a victim of it? Because you did say that you would go home and overeat and kind of like feel woe about yourself and just feel sorry for yourself. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because because the thing is that there's I agree with there's where depending on, I guess there's some people that will, if you tell them, they'll be determined to like lose it, but it's just I think you have to in a way know the person, and it depends who it comes from as well. Because like for example, like if I didn't know you and you told me that, I'll be like okay, like I'll be upset about it and I'll be mad about it. But let's say if somebody, a dear friend, comes up to me and say, "Hey man, you're a little bit pudgy, man, you're getting overweight," I'll respect his response compared to someone else's.
Yeah.
And that would be like, okay, you know what, all right, and that's that will make me continue. Like I'll go and do the dieting and get better and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that because I had mentioned in the other podcast as well that if you don't know somebody, you have no business shaming them, bullying them, and telling them how they need to live their life, right? Yeah. Like you have no stance in that. Because you also need to be careful. It's hard enough to try to give people constructive criticism on the people you do know, right? Because that can be scary sometimes, right? Telling a friend, hey, bro, you're overweight, you need to change your lifestyle. That can be kind of scary. And then for somebody to go to somebody who they don't know what's going on behind closed doors, how they're going to take, criticism and all these things. And to give those people harsh words like that, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Now, here's the thing that is contrary to that, though, because I remember growing up, I was always a chubby kid, too. And I remember my uncle, who I looked up to a lot, he tried putting us on a diet in, I think, middle school. And me being an impulsive little kid, I was mad about it, right? I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I remember one time he was just fed up. And he's like, you know what? If you want to be fat your whole life, be fat your whole life. Yeah. I'm trying to help you here and you don't want to take it. And that hurt my feelings so much. It hurt my feelings, but right after that, I realized, I was like, man, he's trying to do good for me. And I'm over here. Nobody else out here is trying to help me. He's trying to help me, and I'm being lazy.
It's called tough love.
Yeah. And so at a very young age, I started to learn that, especially the people that are close to you, if they try to give you criticism like that, you need to be open to it. It might hurt.
Yeah.
But it's crucial and it's critical for you to listen to those people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because the thing is, like I said, it just depends who's it coming through, and especially now, like, people get like they couldn't even at a work, like, if you try to even say to, let's say you have a work friend,
Yeah.
they could like say like, hey, this guy was telling me I'm overweight. I'm like, no, man, I'm not trying to tell you that. I'm trying to tell you because you're unhealthy. You know, it's gonna affect your job performance. Like, HR and all that, man. Like, and that's the thing that will happen.
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing where we and you talked about it. Now, let's say it's a male to female. This is where it's like, that's where I kind of like there are some women like I would want to tell them, but it's kind of like it's not my place. Like but at the same time, like, I do want to tell them, but I feel if I don't tell them, it's like it's gonna hurt them in the long run.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Well, I think you just have to be smart with it, right? Like, if it's your coworker, and obviously you got that's a very delicate thin line to dance with, but for you, I think that's in your wheelhouse because you have a meal prep company.
Yeah.
And you can kind of promote like, hey, like, I'm trying to promote a healthier lifestyle through nutrition, and I have this going on, and you should give it a try. Or, you know, the goal is so you can live a better life and feel better and live a longer life, right? And then that way you're not telling them, hey, you're fat, you need to change up your life. Well, you kind of are, but it's sugar-coated in, and it's done in a very productive way.
Yeah, because I would say, like, look, I tell people, like, if I tell someone, like, hey, you're kind of getting weight, you know, I would say, like, hey, man, like, do you ever want to pick up your kids? I mean, grandkids? Do you ever want to pick up your grandkids? Like, do you want to be there around? And they were like, yeah, well, I mean, I think, you know, we both know what you have to do. You have to eat a little bit healthier. You know, try something else. Like, instead of drinking a Coke, first you start off like, okay, stop drinking the Coke. Just drink a Coke Zero for now, and you'll see a little difference. And change little thing. I'm not telling you to drastically change, but it takes it's a process. You know, first from Coke to Coke Zero, and then from Coke Zero go to water. You know, it's just little changes. But that's how I would tell. Like, that's how I remember I was telling one guy, like, do you want to be around to be with your grandkids and explore the world? That's because that's the way I see it. Like, I want to be healthy because I want to be able to be with my grandkids and hopefully be with my great grandkids. You know, because I mean, I think we should take advantage of with modern medicine that we're living longer comparing to like cavemen that would live up to like what 30s or 40s, and we're able to live double than that. But like I said, I think that's one way to be motivated. Is like why you should be eating more healthy is just to be able to travel with your grandkids. I mean, recently I saw a post of one member that went to Oregon with her, and she went to go visit her grandkids, and they had a blast. And you know, those are the kind of experiences that I think we should experience in our life. You know, getting a chance to walk on earth with our kids and their kids at the same time. I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing to do. You know, fishing or even fishing with your son, and then fishing with with your grandson. I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing to me. Yeah,
no, I agree 100%. That's what it's all about, right? Is being able to do all these things in the long run. And then also, like, it'll help prevent Alzheimer's diseases and all these crazy things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, here's the thing you don't want. You don't want to be 60 years old and inconvenience to your family because they have to take care of you, right? Like, here comes grandpa, you know what I mean? Like, we have to carry him on, and then we have to change his diaper, and we have to do all these things. Like, that'll eventually happen. But if you can try to delay that as far as possible, that CrossFit's a great thing for that too, because what people don't know is that exercise is the number one function in order to hold back Alzheimer's disease. And it also helps your bone structure and all these things in the long run when you age. I like CrossFit in particular because it's a lot of functional training.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking about the same thing with my buddy Carlos the other day about think about power cleans, right? Like power cleans, you're lifting from the ground up to your chest, right? And so when you get to your grandkids, what are you doing?
You're gonna pick them up, like
you're picking them up from the ground, right up to the chest, right? There's a lot of things that are very functional, like air squats. How many people in America can do a proper below parallel air squat? There's probably not much. Like, there's probably a lot of people that couldn't do that. CrossFit calls for that, right? Pull-ups, right? If you're hanging off of a ledge, how many people would be able to survive that?
No, not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I like CrossFit so much.
Yeah, and it's helped. It's helped me, and it's been helped too, and everybody.
Yeah.
You know, with CrossFit, and I love CrossFit. I mean, recently I saw yesterday a blind CrossFitter.
Oh yes,
I
know.
saw it. I was like, man, I didn't even know that happened. But when I saw that, I was like, man, it's pretty amazing. Like, you know, she's doing power cleans and she's deadlifting. She's like doing lunges. She's doing all these movements, and she can't see.
And you know, like, you know what's weird about that is like that's very motivational, but at the same time, it's very interesting because I don't know if I was blind, I don't know how motivated I would be to do all those things. So I give her props because part of working out is seeing the progress, not just physically, but also weights, right? Yeah. And so for her to, and these are her quotes, right? She says, I was born in darkness, but every day I choose light. That's a hard decision to make, especially for someone like that is in a field, in a sport where really seeing your progress is the main motivator. Yeah. And she can't really see that. So huge props, because I don't know if I would have that same motivation to continue with my physical progress without being able to see
your results or where you're at. You know, but I would look at it this way as well. It's like a beneficial of being a blind CrossFitter is that, let's say you're the coach and you're like, hey, we're going to max out today. Oh, what is it? That's 225. But in reality, it's like 245. It's like more mental. You know, I think that'd be like, I'm pretty sure the coach will do that, like probably mess around with the numbers. Yeah. Just to keep her motivated. But
well, here's another thing though too, is like being a blind CrossFitter, which she is, it has to be an inconvenience too, right? Like she has to have somebody, you know, putting up her weights, you know, everything, pretty much everything. There has to be somebody near her. But I mean, obviously she's getting it done, so props to her. But
and that's the thing, CrossFit is such a good community, is that anybody will help her out putting up the weights. So I mean, if she was at my gym, I'll be like, yeah, I'll help you out. I'm gonna help you out and do it, because I mean that's inspirational. Seeing her, that's inspirational.
Yeah. Listen, guys, are y'all tired of being fat and unhealthy? Look, I feel you. I've struggled with weight loss for a majority of my life, but I recently lost 32 pounds. I want to tell y'all exactly how I did it. I changed my diet. I ate a little bit healthier. I know how hard that can be with so much convenient fast food restaurants, convenient grab-and-go foods that you can just pick up and go. But I want to show y'all a way where y'all can stay convenient and eat a bit healthier. That's why I want to tell you all about my good friends at Primitive Eats. It's a local, homegrown, small business that is a meal prep company. And they are derived off the paleo diet. Really quickly, paleo is just a natural way of eating food. Taking out simple carbs, sticking to the earth. Okay? It is very good for you. It's very healthy for you, and you can support a local small business. It's always great. So if you're in the Los Fresnos, Brownsville, or Harlingen, San Benito area, go check them out. They have plans where you can buy for the full week. They will deliver it for you. Quick, easy, and go, and it's super delicious. They support the podcast. I support them. Go check them out. And if you don't want to get their meal plan, listen, check out their Instagram. That is Primitive Eats 90. I'm going to leave it in the description. If you're not going to follow them for the meal preps, follow them for their memes, because their memes are hilarious. Also, Little quick fun fact, they do raffles, which I recently won concert tickets on their page. True story. Go check them out. I support Primitive Eats. Primitive Eats supports the podcast, and we love them. Go check them out. So obviously we talked about you in high school having
It sucks, man.
low confidence, and then obviously low self-esteem and all those things. Do you think, looking back in hindsight, having to go through all that has motivated you now not to ever go back to that weight? Or do you still see it as a negative where it's like, I could have been where I'm at now a lot sooner if people didn't pick on me so much?
I looking at it back now, it made me more like I can take criticism. Like it made me like okay, you can say it's all these words, I've heard it before, and it's not gonna hurt me. I've been even physically touched. You know, guys will come out of nowhere, like from behind me, and grab my chest. I'm like, mira, look at these. You got bigger than my girls, and I'm like, oh, it sucked. Or they'll grab my neck and stuff like that, and it sucked, dude. Like it really sucked. But you know, it like you got used to it. So I'm used to being criticized about my weight. But the thing is that like at the same time, like I don't want to go back to my weight because how looking at pictures before, like man, I was really big, and then I like where I'm at. Like I love where I'm at, my body physically. You know, do I have more confidence coming up to people or to women? Yes, but not like more, but not like cocky kind of way. It's like okay, like if I want to go talk to her, yeah, I can go talk to her. Now that's not like how it was in high school. In high school, I'll be like just like this the whole time. Like no, I'll be sweating bullets or trying to talk to her, or I'll just find any way, or if not, I'll do I talking through social media as well. Back then when we had MySpace, just talk to her, just talk. But like I wouldn't have the confidence. But now, you know, I can do that. I can talk to a woman like, oh, like let me go say hi, and that's it.
So what it sounds to me is kind of like you build a callus, right? Where like you're tough. The fat shaming has made you tough enough to handle people trying to make like bullying, basically,
yeah,
right?
made me a bully.
So now if people try to bully you, you're like, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like
those
I've heard it
sometimes
before, like
hurt.
you said. So my question is, in hindsight, do you think that maybe you being fat shamed, being bullying now is like a blessing in disguise, or would you say that you wish you never went through that?
Actually, it is a blessing in disguise. You know, to me it is, because without it, without it, then I wouldn't become the person who I am today. You know, I went through all this adversity of being told all these criticisms, and even when I'm being criticized about something, it doesn't really affect me. Like it even like, hey man, you made a mistake. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, you're so dumb. Like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not gonna hurt me. Like, it's not gonna hurt me because I've heard it before.
So here's the thing though. Like, it's funny because you're saying that you appreciate it now, like everything that you went through, but you probably wouldn't wish that on anybody else either, right? That's an interesting thing, right? Because I feel like we kind of protect the new generation a little bit too much now, right? Where we don't really allow them to face any of these things that you know, maybe that was a little bit more prevalent back in the day.
Yeah.
And so that's equivalently has made the new generation a little bit softer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword is what I'm saying. But what do we do about that? Are we just like, oh, well, let people bully them, right? That's kind of not what we want to do, right?
No.
Like what is something you understand what I'm trying to say? It's very contradicting
it's hard.
what we're dancing with here. It's a very delicate dance where it's like, okay, we want to protect them from being bullied and not go through depression, but we also don't want to hoard them in too much where they become babies and they can't handle anything.
What's that quote that Jordan Peterson says? You don't make men weak, you make them stronger. You remember that quote? Do you know which one? The quote
No.
I'm talking about? It says like you want to make them stronger, but I think like it's because I feel like this generation it is like a little bit sensitive in a way,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But at the same time, like it's just like I want to tell some kid like, hey man, you gotta like I would want to go tell some kids that I see that are overweight, or I see parents that are overfeeding, like giving their kids like trust me, you don't want like, but at the same time like you don't want them to go through what I went through. But then you're like, okay, but if he doesn't go through this journey, he's not gonna get that strong strength, you know. It's hard.
So you see what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
I get what I'm saying.
It's like we want to say
Go through the tough road to build them stronger, or unless we want to make them go through an easy road. And like it's
right.
hard. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is like, I don't want to sit here and say I'm an advocate to bullying, but I do think that the world is a tough place to live in, and if we try to protect the new generation too much, it's not going to be good for them, because they're going to end up going into the real world, and then they're gonna have to face all the trials and the tribulations, and then they're gonna fold. It's kind of what we're seeing now, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of what we're seeing with all these appreciation trophies now.
Yeah. I was thinking,
Right.
about
And
that.
like coaches, like I remember when ninth grade I tried out for the basketball team and I got cut, and that sucked, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't make the team. I was like probably the only one that didn't make the team, and that hurt my feelings, right?
Yeah.
Now what everybody's trying to do is that they're trying to be inclusive, and so it's like everybody who signs up to be in the team is gonna make the team.
Yeah.
Everybody gets an appreciation trophy. Doesn't matter if you win, lose, at least you participated.
Yeah.
And that is bad practice.
Or A team or B team or even C
Exactly.
team. You know, like, yeah, I get you.
Right?
Then,
We're being too inclusive. We're babying the new generation too much. And so the thing is, my question is, how are we going to balance where we can make the new generation tough?
First of all, I mean, we gotta be. I think we have to be really tough on them. It's gonna suck, but it's more like tough love. Like I think we have to get rid of those participant trophies and participant, because, you know, I think we're babying our generation. To me,
Yeah,
because they're gonna expect a participation award and anything.
Yeah. So what happens when you apply for a job and you don't get it? Do you get an appreciation trophy? It's like, hey, don't worry about it. We'll find you another job.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work like that.
Right. So
it's gonna hit them. It's gonna hurt them in the long run. Like in the long run, by doing all those appreciation awards, or the A team, B team, C team. You know, I remember when I was in middle school, I was in the first time of playing football, I was in B team. But you kind of see the difference of how A team and B team was treated. But like, it gave what I appreciate my coach at middle school was that I think that was a benefit, that he did treat us differently with A team and B team, because it's kind of like, oh man, I'm tired of being a B team. Like I'm tired of it.
yeah.
So you work harder to become A team.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of, I mean, I don't know how they do it now, but it's like, I'm pretty sure now there's like an A team and B team, and they're both equally like appreciative, I guess. But I know I was coaching for a little league team for football, the Route Riders in Brownsville, last year. We didn't have like a B team. It was just more.
No, I don't think outside leagues do that.
Not outside leagues, but I know school, I'm pretty sure they still have that.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it's good. I mean, I don't think it's good. I mean, it's kind of like you're babying them, like, oh, it's okay. Like, you may B team, but in life, there's no B team in life.
Yeah. So do you think that we should change National Bullying Prevention Month to National Bullying Month?
I mean, I would say National Tough Love. Tough Love. Because, I mean, I think bullying is like, I know that bullying is like bullying. I mean, the definition of bullying is what? To hurt them, right?
Yeah.
But they're getting hurt, and that could go in different ways. But if you teach them the right way, I mean, a proper way, maybe, I mean, like, not bully them, but be tough on them, to push him to the right way. Like, hey man, like this isn't. There's no. You're not gonna be in B team. Like if I had a kid and he was in, if I find out he was in B team, I'll take him out of football.
Why is that?
I'm not gonna let him be in B team. I'm like, no, you're not gonna be in B team. Either you're an A team or either nobody grows up like how we all heard. Like nobody grows up to be like, oh, I want to be vice president. Nobody grows up that they want to be vice president. Everybody wants to be the top, like president. You know, everybody goes like, I want to be president. You know, I want to be the top. You know, you know why? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I would be like, no, you're not gonna be in B team. Like you're gonna be in A team. That's your goal. And if you don't make it, then if you're a backup, I'd rather you become a backup in A team than you become a B team.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing is that because it's kind of like, oh well, I just have to come in, not too. I don't have to put much effort.
Yeah.
I'm already in the team. I'll get my free McDonald's, you know, when we go out to road games.
Yeah.
I'll get my Letterman or whatever. But you know, but in the real world, you're not gonna get any of that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Because that's the way I would do it. I wouldn't have my kid be in a B team. Like I wouldn't. I would like hey. Do you want to be an A team? Okay, then let's go out and practice and let's get you next year to A team. If not, then we're gonna have to go next year because that's what happened to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was cut, and look at him now.
Legend, one of the goats.
Legend, the GOAT.
So now that I got you thinking, because I think when you first got here, you were probably pro no fat shaming, right? You weren't for it.
Yeah.
And so now I got you thinking about the both sides of the spectrum. Do you think now that we've had the discussion, fat shaming is valid, or would you still think that there's no place for it?
It's kind of tough, man. It is
right?
tough.
Because here's the thing, right? It's like, what is bullying? What is fat shaming? Is it something that is concrete across the board, or is it a case-by-case thing? That's a very important question, because me personally, including temperaments into the equation, I think it's case-by-case because people tolerate it differently, right? So I give the example of the Navy SEALs. Navy SEAL training, everything that the higher ranks do to the Navy SEAL, the possible Navy SEALs coming in, the trainees, they beat them up, they talk smack to right, they cuss them out, they do all these things, they grill them, they do all these things, which can be considered, if we're talking about everything across the board,
it is bullying.
They're bullying them, right? But it's actually conditioning. That's the way they see it.
Yeah.
Or we're conditioning you because we need to know that you are suitable for the job.
Yeah.
Right? So to them, that's not bullying. So are we going to say, okay, this is bullying all the way across the board? I don't think we can. I think we have to say it goes case by case and based on what you're trying to do.
That's what you're saying. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Like bullying, it's like a case by case.
Yeah.
You know.
And because it is a case by case, we have to be aware of that when we're trying to say that person's getting bullying, which makes everything so complicated, right? Because pretty much anybody can be a victim of bullying by their standards.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Freddie said that he doesn't like I do this in the podcast. Oh, he's bullying me.
Oh, he's bullying me.
Right? You know,
and that's the thing. That's where we are weak, because we take every criticism as a bully. Like, okay, if you don't like that I do CrossFit, then and you say powerlifting is better, you know, I'm not gonna be mad about it. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna. You think it's gonna affect my day by you making fun of CrossFitters? It's like, no. I mean, I could care less. Because to me, I look at it this way: as long as you're healthy, you're being healthy. That's all I care.
Yeah.
We just do it in a different way.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing, because it's like, does it matter what the intent is if the person perceives it as bullying? Right? Because let's say I had good intention in telling you, hey, Freddie, you're fat. You need to lose weight.
Yeah.
And I care about you and I want you to be better for yourself, but you take that as bullying. Does it even matter what my intention is? That's what we're facing now, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
With the whole fat shaming, body positivity, the whole bullying thing is all perception.
Yeah.
It's somebody doing something and then how the other person perceives it. Obviously, there are some bad people out there that do bullying.
Yeah, you can tell the difference. You can tell, like after what I've grown up is like you can tell the difference when somebody's trying to hurt you, or somebody's trying to push you,
yes,
to a better path. You know, there's a difference.
Yep.
You know, because I mean, yes, maybe there are chances where somebody that's getting hurt, being hurt multiple times, like being told, maybe they'll click and become a better person. But there's also, I think there's a higher, it's a 50-50, you know, and with that situation. But if there's like but me telling someone else, I mean, at least there's a higher percentage that he will change. But depending on the person, like case on case.
Right. So it gets very complicated.
It gets complicated with everything.
That's the interesting thing, right? Because when I introduced this topic to the stream, people thought, well, it's like, oh, that's an easy discussion. But it's actually very complicated.
It's very complicated.
And I'm hoping that the listeners listen this far, because now they get to actually think about, you know, all the complex things that go into it, because it's affecting the workforce too. I was going to school for kinesiology, and then I realized going through college, like, I don't want to be a coach for a school, because all the coaches now, they have to be very careful about how they treat and speak to the students, because they can lose their job.
And back then, they were like, come on, big boys, let's go run. Like, yeah.
I mean, the coaches back then, I remember a coach would say, if you messed up, he would say, I'm going to knock your dick in the dirt. He would say that, bro.
Really?
Yeah, and imagine
and
now.
Those are the coaches that we need.
Yes.
Now it's like, good job, Junior.
Yeah.
Good job.
You know what I
High
mean?
five. You know, but now it's like, no. I mean, I miss the coaches like back then. Like a coach, like my high school coach, like he wasn't an ass, but he was like tough, man. Like he'll make us like do a lot of like physical, like run and all this stuff, and he'll be like, and he'll say some things, but it wasn't like more like a hurtful thing. I know there was one situation where we had I was like a junior, and this guy was like, one of the coaches was like talking about his mom. Like, the guy's like, don't be talking about my mama like that, don't be talking about, man, he got pissed.
Yeah.
But you know what, the next play, blocked this guy. He blocked this guy, and then touchdown. And
Gotta know about that, though.
Yeah, well, it helped, but then, but that guy, he was kind of sentimental. He was that big sentimental guy, but that coach made him tougher, and it made him tough. And to this, now he's a tough guy, because I feel like because of that experience, or one of those experiences that he went through. Which now what I know is that he's a happily married, he's successful, and you know, I think that him going through football made him successful, because if he wasn't in football and nobody told him something like that, I'm pretty sure his life would be totally different if he didn't go through that tough, like being kind of like bullied in a way, tough like journey.
Yeah.
You know, but
we talked about this in the podcast before this one, about how people's tolerance and how they perceive things. That's an interesting thing for fat shaming, right? Because somebody can take it as a positive, and then, you know, try to grow from it, and then others become victims of it. Kind of, I guess, concluding it and trying to get back to the point, where do you find, from your own words, where do you find that fat shaming can be implemented, or if it should be implemented, and where it shouldn't?
I think it just, I feel like you're gonna have to, I think it should be implemented if you know the person. Like, I feel like, well, if you know the person, or let's say you're a coach, I mean, I'm sorry if the parents get offended, but I feel like the coaches kind of have to be a little bit tougher on the kids, a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
You know, on that. But like, I feel we do need some bullying, but not take it so far.
It's hold on, because I want to backtrack, because I hate calling it bullying and fat shaming if the intention is good. Right? Like, if
what would
I'm
be a proper word for it?
well, the thing is, if I'm not trying to fat shame you, if I just want to see you be a better version of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but you classify it as fat shaming, where, what are we doing here, right? It's like, it's
Yeah.
not, I'm not trying to fat shame you. I'm trying to see
Yeah.
you become a better person, right? So I'm trying to reword my question to you, because I don't want you to say like, oh, it's okay to fat shame people. That's not what I'm trying to get you to say. I'm trying to say, when do you think is a good place to tell somebody that they need to change their lifestyle? And I think you said it good, where it's like, you need to know the person,
Yeah.
or at least get to know them before you start
Yeah.
dropping bombs on them and telling
Yeah.
them, hey.
Yeah,
No.
because let's say if I see a kid or I see somebody like luego, I tell them like, hey, kind of like, hey man, calm down. But let's say I get to know you, and I'm like, there must be a reason why he's overweight. There is a reason. I mean, maybe like if somebody asks me like, why are you overweight? Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? It's like, well, I mean, I get sad like after on Fridays and Saturdays because I'm overweight and I'm not attractive. But like, okay, well, you know what, man? Like, this is enough. This shit's done. Like, that's it. We're gonna be done with this. You want to live with your life, and I'd rather have somebody tell me there like, hey man, like you better nut up and quit this, because if not, this is where you want to be for the rest of your life. You want to be overweight. You want to be one of those guys that are on the couch all day eating Doritos and Hot Pockets for the rest of your life. Like, no, okay, then let's go work out. Let's do that. Come on.
Hot Pocket, bro. I haven't had a Hot Pocket in forever.
It's because I'm in the wholeness, bro. I want one.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I agree with you. Continue. What were we saying?
Yeah, like, and that's one way. But if it's somebody if I'm going to a Whataburger or even at work, or any like, hey man, like, yeah, it's mucho. No, I would want to. I have to know. I have to know the person before I tell them to like. Before I tell them to, or I hear little things like, I get to hear like, oh, I want to lose weight. Like, okay, maybe that's. I mean, they know my journey, so I'm pretty sure they're saying it because it's kind of like a call out of hope.
Yeah.
Because that's where it's happened, where people have like said it, like, and I'm just there, right, and then they'll say it out of nowhere, and it's kind of like, oh, he said it, like.
Here's the thing about it's kind of like an unspoken truth that maybe people might not like, but healthier, good-looking people get more opportunities.
Oh, big time.
Like, you want to talk about, because fat shaming is a real thing. I'm telling you right now, if you have two people, one of them looks healthy and the other one looks unhealthy, one of them's fat, one of them's a good body type. If they apply at the same job, same credentials, the better looking guy, the healthier guy is gonna get the job.
It's like, okay, who would get a better job, Freddie from 300 pounds or Freddie now? No, Freddie now is gonna get a better job because he's a bit confident. He's more strong willed and he's more dedicated. He's in shape. He's taking care of himself, which shows that he's responsible. Ese gordito, and like, no se nota, like he won't. It's not look like he's taking care of himself. It looks like he's not gonna be happy at the job. He's more like, he doesn't seem like he looks lazy.
Well, let me tell you the origin of all this, right? It all comes down to discipline. Freddie on the right hand side, the healthy Freddie, has enough discipline to take care of his body.
Yeah,
he has enough discipline to say, okay, listen, I'm a little bit more heavy set. This is what I need to do. I need to eat healthier. I need to work out. I need to drink my water. I need to do this, and that. Fat Freddy, he's very impulsive. He tends to overeat. He tends to be a glutton. He doesn't like to work out. He can't even take care of his own body, his own temple. How am I going to trust that Freddy with my company?
Yeah.
It's not going to work out.
No, it's not, because, my parents own a business and I own a business, and seeing that, like, you can, like, you can, when you do an interview and if you see somebody, like, that looks like they take care of themselves, like, oh, he takes care of himself, they're going to have a better chance.
100%.
Because, it's like, this guy, you're not going to see, like, you don't see him, Big Freddy, you don't see him being with you for a year, after, so it sucks. But that's the reality.
Yeah. So here's the reality for the people that are listening. if people aren't going to fat shame you, the world will eventually fat shame you.
It's gonna come sooner or later.
Yeah.
It's still but I've been also that spectrum where I was too skinny. But we'll get that.
We'll get that in a little bit. But so here's the thing that I want to get to, and then we can get to your being too skinny. You are responsible for your body, and just know that your body is a direct representation and reflection of who you are. If you're not disciplined enough to take ownership and live a healthier lifestyle, your presentation, then you're going to suffer everything that comes along with it.
Yeah.
And it's going to come from people not wanting to be around you, you losing job opportunities. It's the truth. And
yeah, it is the truth, because I mean, there's jobs where you're gonna have to do a lot of physical labor, and they're gonna go with the guy that's more physical. That's, for example, when I used to work at Walmart, I used to work in a back room, and we had to unload trucks. You know, they always put the physical guy there, and they always put the guy that's like, when I was barely at my first year at Walmart, I was still chubby. They put me in the line, so I was just a guy like the rails, just picking up stuff, putting in the pallet. But then as I started losing more weight and stuff like that, then I became more on the truck, because they saw me more physical. That I was able to I had the condition to unload those 18-wheeler trucks of all the stuff before. So I mean, it's sad. I mean, but it's the truth. It's the ugly truth.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about like you mentioned, the opposite side of the spectrum, where you're a little bit too skinny.
Yeah.
What type of scrutiny did you get there, or what?
I remember this past year, I was told that, like, oh, you're too skinny, and it kind of like, that was new. It was like, I mean, I'm so used to telling that you're overweight, and I'm like, okay. But then when you're told you're too skinny, you don't have any muscle, or it's like, estás muy flaco, te miras muy huizo, and I'm like, and I didn't know how to take it, because it's something I never heard.
It was new to you.
It was new to you, but in a way, I'm kind of like, okay, I mean, yeah, that was shaming, but I mean, but knowing me, I kind of take it as criticism. Like, okay, I guess I made it to the point where I'm skinny enough. But I am it did bother me, because it's like, okay, like,
you worked all this hard.
You worked all this hard. How ironically is that you're there, you work out this much, you put in the effort, you're dieting, all these sacrifices you do, and yet it's like, okay, but you're too skinny now. Like, okay, all right. So then, you know, which it sucked, because it was kind of like I said, it was like, it hurt, because it's like, you put all this effort in, but yet it's not good enough.
Do you think that you had a case of body dysmorphia, where you were just trying to lose too much weight? Like, that was all that was on your mind? Lose weight.
When I got really skinny, I wasn't trying to, like, I wasn't like, that was my goal. Like, oh, I want to be super skinny. Like, I want to be flaco. Like, no, I stuck to the paleo diet longer than I guess should. And that's where my doctor, even my nutrition, the last time he told me, was like, hey man, you're like a 10% at body fat. And I think the paleo diet is sustainable. It is sustainable.
I think that you can be at a healthy weight, live healthy lifestyle on the paleo diet. I just think that you're maybe not eating enough.
I guess I wasn't eating enough, because one coach told me, was like, hey, you're not taking too much protein. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, because I was eating super, super clean, like not even a gum, because I didn't want not even a gum, because you know those sugar alcohols. I did not even want to take a gum. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna eat this, and that's what I'm gonna stick to. And I guess not purposely, but it went too far. Right? I wasn't trying to, but I mean, yeah, the abs are cool. I mean, having abs were cool. I mean, being a big guy, and then you think, wow, I have abs. Like, there's pictures of me with abs. I never thought you have that. But I never was like, oh, I want to continue so I can have these abs. It was just more just like I'm more like, I was just trying to continue living that lifestyle. But then you see that, I would notice that in the CrossFit, that my weightlifting was getting terrible.
So where I think you're headed is, that you face scrutiny when you were too heavy, and then you face scrutiny when you were quote unquote too skinny.
Yeah.
I think what that comes down to is that you're never gonna be perfect in other people's eyes, and what it all comes down to is how do you want to look, and what are your goals for your body. I think that's for anybody.
Yeah.
You should not try to fit an image of other people's upon your own body. I think that you should have a goal. Okay, this is kind of what I want to look like, right? And then you do whatever you got to do to get there, regardless if somebody tells you, hey, you know, you look too skinny. Okay, whatever. Let me get there and figure out for myself that that's
Yeah.
not how I want to look.
Yeah, because like there's it's like, I mean, I think it was helpful for me personally that I became super skinny, because the thing is that it's like, okay, it's just like, okay, well, I mean, it's like, performance wise, I didn't like it, you know, being too low body fat. And I thought it was only me that, like, I thought it was like, oh, like, I guess being too skinny, I didn't know that it was gonna affect my performance till another coach told me, it's like, man, I was at 9% and it was ugly. Like, my performance was ugly. The weightlifting was terrible. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, so that's when I learned, like, okay, there's some pros and cons of being too skinny. There's some pros and cons on being too heavy. So now it's like, okay, you're basically finding yourself
Sweet spot.
You're trying to find that sweet, like, tuning yourself physically, and like, okay, well, where do you want to be at? I mean, 160 was my lowest, but I feel like 180 is good. But I'm like, okay, well, I don't like how I look in 180, and I don't like how my cardio is and my gymnastics is. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I should be like on the 170 more or less. But it's like, it's basically, I'm experimenting myself, you know. But I'm not like, back then I was like more like trying to satisfy the world of how the way I look. But more, it's like, I don't really care how they see me as anymore. More, I'm just now working on myself physically for myself. I don't care what you think. Like, if you think I'm too skinny, pues que te vayas. Me vale, pero like, and then right now, like, I know, si me dicen ahorita, like, if they tell me right now, hey, estás gordito, pues que te importa, güey. I mean, I could care less. Now I'm just working on myself, because I've been told, like I said, I've been in both sides of the spectrum, like, being too skinny, too fat. I'm like, okay, dude, like, it's not like I'm going out with you, like, like, I'm more, like, it's for me, man. Like, I could care less. But I mean, that's what sucks. I mean, it's like, and that's why I tell people, like, don't lose weight for somebody else, or don't try to change your body for somebody else. Like, you're trying to get like, oh, I want to impress this girl. Like, trust me, like, it's being in that situation. Like, I've been there. In the end, don't do it for someone else. Yeah, because you're just gonna end up hurting yourself in the end, because, you know,
okay, it's great that you mentioned that, because it's like, it comes back to the fat shaming thing, as you know these things already because of everything you've already experienced, right? You've already experienced, and you've been resilient through all the people telling you you're too skinny, you're too fat, you look this and that. And so at this point, you're like, who cares what anybody says, right?
Fastidias, you're like, dude, I'm done. Like, I'm already done with it.
But that would have never happened if you never experienced the fat shaming, the bullying, and all that stuff. So I guess to kind of wrap all this up and to conclude it, I think that bullying, fat shaming is a lot more complicated than what people think it is. I think that just the word bullying is a case-by-case thing, and you shouldn't impose yourself on other people if you don't know them. Yeah. And if the intention isn't good, don't do it. Just keep your mouth shut. But I do think that there is a space for constructive criticism. And if somebody you love, or someone you're close to, or even an acquaintance that you want to have a healthier lifestyle, I would try to communicate that, but in a productive, constructive, positive way, the best way as possible.
Yeah, but because I mean, if it comes from me, because I'm pretty sure now majority of people are gonna.
You're the healthy guy.
I'm the healthy guy. So it's like, I'm telling you this because I don't want you to go through when I went to the ER. Because remember, what caused me to lose weight wasn't because of a girl, wasn't because of, it was more because of a ER. Like I don't want, it was a scare, man. Like I don't want you to go through what I went through. You know, it's a tough journey, but like I mean, but if I didn't have that, but the bullying helped me have a strong shell to take criticism. But I think, but the ER situation, me going to the ER helped me, motivated me to become, to get onto this journey.
Yeah. And then you kind of already saw the positives and you're like, oh, I want to stay on this grind.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I guess it was a perfect mix. I mean, I guess it balanced out because, you know, I mean, let's say a kid goes to the ER because he's overweight when he's like 12. He's not going to understand. He's like, nah. But if like, and also what if he goes through bullying for 20, 30, 25 years, but he never has a health scare, you know, he's not going to be motivated to go to the gym, but he's going to be more, man, this is what I am. You know, but it depends on the situation.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro.
You know
I agree. Well, Freddie, do you want to mention anything else before we go? About an hour in.
We're not in. We're going to do I'm planning to do the toy drive for the Primitive Eats toy drive. So,
for Christmas.
For Christmas, because I love giving out to the community. I mean, seeing kids getting presents, you know, that's like amazing. Like when you see a kid giving, just when I would give the fans to the kids in Matamoros, to the families in Matamoros, even the kids getting blankets in Matamoros, like it was just like, it's amazing to see all these kids. I mean, how grateful they are just by getting a blanket or a fan during the hot summer. But the kids, I want to do it for what we did last year, which I think it was awesome that we did last year. It was awesome. You gotta bring that Santa guy back. I don't know who he was. I don't know who he was, but he was cool doing like I'll be willing to dress up as Santa and do some pull-ups.
That was my brother.
Oh really?
Yeah, shout out to him. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, we did a toy drive. The Common Podcast hosted the toy drive. Freddie helped out, the Primitive Eats, also Divine Fitness or Divine CrossFit helped out, and then Rip Current helped out. This year, Freddie's going to be doing it, and we're going to do anything possible to try to help him, the Common Podcast. So, as always, Freddie with Primitive Eats is the sponsor of the podcast. He helps us out, and we love what he does on that side of the things. But go check out his Instagram, Primitive Eats 90. That's always in the description. Y'all can go check him out. If you're interested about the whole toy drive thing and how maybe you can help, make sure you go check out the Instagram and DM him, and he'll shoot you a DM back.
Anything, man. Like it makes a difference. It makes a difference on a kid.
So thank you so much, Freddie. Yeah. And as always, bro, I always appreciate conversations with you. Podcast, man. I'm glad to have you on, bro. All right, we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.